I'm going to preview the Baylor at number 22 Iowa women's soccer game, which will be played on September 8th at 5 p.m. Central Time on BigTen Plus. And I don't know if there's a free trial or not. And if not, you have to pay extra to watch. And if nothing else, there is live stats as well. And hopefully there is good weather for this game, so it doesn't get postponed or moved up. And I did look at the forecast anyway, and it doesn't look bad. But you never know. Anything can happen between now and then. And Baylor's now 5-1 in the year with the most recent win against SMU and SMU. And they lost to SMU the last 2 years by 1 goal difference. Now it's on Baylor's side of things in the win column. Yes, SMU did score in the first half, but it was a giveaway by Hallie Augustin, and I know that does not usually happen. And SMU scored. And second half, Baylor was more offensive, and Hallie Augustin actually scored to tie it up at 1 apiece, assisted by Teresa McCullough and Tyler Isrig. And then Tyler Isrig got the game-winning goal, like the eventual game-winning goal, because SMU never scored, didn't even score again. Assisted by Ashley Miller and Adriana Miriam. So I'm just making a point there on what happened. So they have won 5 straight games now, with the only loss to a number 18 Mississippi State team 1-0, and that was a lucky goal if you ask me, because when you look at the highlights, that's a fluke. I mean, got the save, but then it hit the goalie's back and it went in. That's literally the only goal prior to this game that Azul Alvarez has given up all year. Seriously. Yes, I know it was a 5-2 win against St. Bonaventure, but the backup was in the game. So, now Iowa is 3-0-2 on the year, with the wins against Colorado College. That's part of the Mountain West for that sport. They did have a canceled game against Oregon State, but they were up in that game and they called it off. Oregon State didn't want to readjust that game. They were up 2-0. So you could technically say 4-0-2, but because they didn't complete the game, it's 3-0-2. But you get the point. They would have won that game. Let's just be clear. They do have a tie with Michigan and Texas, by the way, 1-1 and 0-0, respectively. They did beat Florida Gulf Coast University 3-0, and they did defeat Wake Forest, which was a ranked team, I believe, last poll. So, just to give a heads up there, and I will put the outlook on Iowa women's soccer in the description below, so y'all could see it, and you could see like what formations they use the most, and it's one consistent one for the most part, and how many starts for each player and everything. So really, Macy King, Enenking, number 1, 5'9" goalie that is a senior, 2 goals allowed and 14 saves. So they don't give up goals, as you could tell. And now I'm going to go over some players to keep an eye on, whether it's like multiple assists or multiple goals, like 2 or more. So Barrett Parton, number 2, 5'7" forward. That's a freshman, 3 goals and 16 shots attempted. Sophia Bush, number 5, 5'6" midfielder. That's a sophomore, 1 goal and 6 shots attempted and 2 assists. And I'm not trying to overlook Iowa's other players, but I'm making note of the goal scorers here. Because defenders maybe like slipped on, but you get the whole point. So the next player is like Miki Ingles, Meike, number 14, 5'2" forward. That's a senior, 2 goals and 12 shots attempted and 1 assist. Kenzie Otto, number 28, 5'6" midfielder / forward. That's a senior, 1 goal and 12 shots attempted and 2 assists. And I'm just going to go right ahead and go over like Maya Hansen, number 9, 5'4", Ford, that's a senior, 1 goal and 3 shots attempted. Because that's literally the other one on the page of notes here. And then there's obviously like one more player you got to keep an eye on. It's Berkeley Bingeli, Bingeli. I apologize if I butchered that. Number 18, 5'8" forward. That's a or midfielder. That's a freshman, 2 goals and 5 shots attempted. And I will say, Iowa did not play on Thursday, so they do have the rest advantage, especially not having to travel anywhere and anything like that. So they're playing with fresh legs compared to Baylor. I admit that, but that doesn't always mean they're going to win. You gotta go out and play the game. I mean, that's the truth. If you're Baylor in this game, you have no pressure on you whatsoever. First of all, I was at home and they're ranked. You're not. I mean, that's truth. You have a lot to gain here. Obviously, you need to shut down the best offensive players as much as possible. And I know that Iowa may be they're a really good defensive team, as you could tell, based on how many goals they've only given up this year. So they're going to be hard to break down. And literally, last time we played Iowa was year one under Michelle Leonard back in 2022. And it was a 0-0 draw. So this team is better than 2 years ago by far. And it's not even close. I mean, look. That was year one with the new system and a new staff. Everything. Now you got the players that fit the system, and the recruiting has helped as well. Not just high school, but transfer portal. And some of those players back then are old and they're more experienced now. And experience does matter. I mean, it does. So yeah. Now, the thing about it is you gotta start faster than an SMU game if possible. But if nothing else, keep them 0-0. I mean, for a long time. I mean, that's the truth. Now, obviously, if you could score first, that would be huge. But that doesn't mean let off on the gas pedal, as in like, okay, we're not going to do anything else. It's like, no. You got to be aggressive. And make Iowa on the defensive. And what's funny is, 2 years ago, Baylor had more shots than Iowa. When you look at that game, and it was still a 0-0 draw. So, yeah. Now we got a better roster than last time. And this is not really like a revenge game. But you could say it is. Because, look, we played better than Iowa did in some of the categories here than last time. I mean, that's just telling the truth. You do not need to do giveaways on your own end and try and give Iowa some easy goals. Oh, no. I know you got fortunate by coming back and winning, but you don't want to be trailing if you don't have to. Yet I know you came back to win against SMU, and that's a good thing. It's a way to be resilient. And you gotta stay resilient if you're trailing, obviously. Just like last game. Whatever you did wrong last game, correct it for this game. Whatever you did right last game, keep it up and continue to strengthen that part and take away the strengths for Iowa while exploiting the weaknesses. And I would pressure Iowa on their own end, and that way they could possibly give some giveaways to you, and then you have easier chances to score, or even in the midfield. You got to be solid defensively in the 1v1 situations. Of course, offensively, you want to try to take advantage, and if nothing else, try to get the ball off the opponent and potentially have a corner kick. And you got to be really good on set pieces, whether it's like a free kick in dangerous area or even halfway mark, or even a corner. I'm just saying it does help to execute those, and you got to be really good in those situations on defense. You do not want a handball or a foul in a box on defense, because that would mean a PK, and PKs are so hard. It's a coin flip where it goes for the goalie, It's just telling the truth about it here. Obviously, if you could draw that on the opponent, that would be good too. But you cannot always rely on the refs calling stuff. So you got to be a mentally tougher team, especially when you are coming off of a win, and Iowa has not played for a week. So they got fresher legs, but you just got to stay mentally tough and come out with energy and show them we're not going to back down to you. Even though you are ranked and you are at home, we're going to make it tough on you. I mean, that's just the truth. And the matter is, and you got to win like those like 50-50 balls, like in the air, like a header. And if you're to the point of you need to clear the ball out defensively, you got to clear it out as soon as possible and try to leave no doubt on making it go, make the opponent go back to like at least a halfway mark of the field, if not all the way across. And if you're up late in the game, honestly did what you did do last game, trying to melt that clock a little bit in the corners. That way, hey, clock's on our side. No, I don't want to start too early on that. But still, it does help to do that. Because, the time, it's definitely on your side in those situations. And if you're up and it's late in the game, 5 minutes or more, try to score again if possible. To that way get like a 2-goal lead late instead of a 1-goal lead. You got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. That's the thing. And I'm not just talking about like from first half to second half, but I'm talking about throughout the first half, throughout the second half. There is no overtimes. Because, the overtime rule is no longer existing for regular season. It's just in the postseason. So I'm just saying that up front. So in case anybody has missed the news about that, that's no longer a thing in the regular season. And I think that's honestly for the best. You got to play aggressive, make them under defensive, and don't try to be so defensive. If you can, and make Iowa play on your own end so much, because you need to find a way to get some offense. And technically, you could say this is a revenge game from 2 years ago, because some of those players they were back on the roster back then, and we know we are better now. And this would be a huge win if you could get it, because one, it's a ranked opponent, and they're probably going to make the NCAA tournament anyway. And two, you need all the wins you could get to try to make the NCAA tournament. This is besides being good in conference and everything, I get it. And you got to win against your last non-con game, which is literally a week from Sunday against Texas State. But I'm just, not to look ahead, but I'm just saying, it would be huge, especially when, if you scheduled so good, tough, like to give yourself an NCAA tournament chance. And it's wide open in the league right now. So I'm just making a point in all this. And of course, your goal, like Azula Alvarez, does need to step up, which she has done that all year long, only giving up 2 goals. And that first one of the year was just a fluke. And it just, like Michelle Leonard said at the coach or so, it would be like once every season or season and a half that really happens. And sure, she gave up a goal this game, but we rebounded, and if she could punch it out, that would be good. Or just catch the ball and have some critical saves, that really would help. And of course, making every shot for Iowa difficult as much as possible and try to block those shots. Take away the best players scoring-wise as much as possible for Iowa. That definitely would help in this game. And having Tyra Israel to score back-to-back games now, that would really be helpful. And that was helpful against SMU. Hopefully she could do that in this game possibly. Same thing goes for Ashley Merrill. If not, then else you have an assist. Same thing goes for Teresa McCullough. You got to have other players step up besides those two, because it really, Ashley Merrill and Tyra Israel, because that way it gives the defense, oh, I gotta watch out for this player. Of course, you're trying to like, oh, this player, you gotta keep tabs on and try to have more shots than Iowa if possible, and all this, because it does help to have more shots than the opponent. But I know at the end of the day, it matters what happens behind, like to the net. But you get the whole point, especially get more shots on goal, because last game when you look at it, Baylor outshot SMU 15-10. 7 O's on goal, only 4 for SMU. And of course, you want to have really a lot of saves if you need to. And I know SMU had saved us 5-3, but we have more shots than them, so it makes sense. Try more corner kicks than Iowa, because when you do that, that will really help. And obviously, you do not, and you don't want like egregious fouls to the point of a yellow card or a red card, heaven forbid. You don't want that. I mean, I'm just telling the truth and all this. And if obviously if it happens for Iowa, it happens. But still, let's go out there with our hair on fire and play nothing to lose. Because look, you have a lot to gain here. If you could beat this Iowa team, you have a better chance to make the NCAA tournament. Because Iowa's ranked, and they're probably going to make the NCAA tournament this year. I would think so. And if you do well enough in the conference this year, as well as beat Texas State at home, which I know they tied with Oklahoma State. I know they did, scoreless. And do well enough in conference, you have a legitimate chance to make the NCAAs. And Michelle Leonard did say the goal was to go 5-2 prior to that first conference game, and they're already there. I mean, and that's the truth. With 5-1 on the year, obviously she would take better, like 6-1, prior to Oklahoma State game coming up. So, and I will make a note here that one of the assistants, Leah said with Callie, will not be at this game, unfortunately. She is pregnant. If you don't know already, when you watch the games and everything, she is pregnant. So she's literally 4 weeks away. That's what Michelle Leonard said, from giving birth. So she obviously can't travel for the game here. Yeah, it's Caffey, not Callie, but you get the point. Leah said with Caffey. So you get the point here, and we have a lot to gain from this game here. Because, look, if nothing else, we know where we're at. And this is literally the toughest opponent that we played since game 1. I think we have been better since game 1. This is a really good test to see where we're at. And this definitely would help our confidence going to the conference play, potentially, if we could get a win here. If not, it would help us prepare for conference even better. Seriously, this is besides like an opportunity to try to make the NCAA tournament, because if you could get this game here as a win, I don't know about a draw, but definitely as a win, that would really boost your NCAA tournament chances. It really would. A lot. So anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button. See you guys later. On road to 7 subscribers. Of course, ultimate goal is 1,000 more. Some money out the score. So like a video, comment video, really helps YouTube algorithm so more people could see it. Sharing the video does help as well, so more people could watch. And if you're watching and subscribe, hit subscribe button, hit the notification bell as well. And try to force Iowa to make mistakes in their own in the field, like I said, and even in the midfield. And of course, if you could try to turn them over on their scoring, that would be really helpful, and then create a counterattack. And of course, you don't want the counterattack to happen against you. If you turn the ball over and you're scoring, you don't want that to happen, or turn the ball over in midfield or in the field when you're defending.